19th Century Clothing by Bobby Kalman. Pioneer clothing. The 19th century, 1801 to 1900, was an exciting time of growth and prosperity in North America. Thousands of British, German, French, Swedish, Irish, Scottish, Italian, and Russian immigrants came from Europe to start new lives in the land of opportunity. Many of these immigrants settled in the wilderness areas. The people who made their homes in these rugged frontier lands were called pioneers. The pioneers worked hard to build homes and feed themselves. There were no shops nearby where they could buy things. If they needed food, they had to hunt, fish, or gather it from the land. When their clothes wore out, they had to start from scratch to make new clothing. This picture here. The pioneers could not buy their clothes because they lived far away from towns and cities. Before wool and flax could be woven into cloth, they had to be spun into yarn on a spinning wheel. The clothing worn by the pioneers was made from simple, sturdy materials. The most available materials for making clothes were wool, flax, and leather. Winter wool. To make wool, the thick winter coat of sheep was sheared off in the spring. It was washed clean of burrs and dirt, greased, fluffed up, and spun into yarn on a spinning wheel. The yarn was then dyed and woven into woolen fabric on a loom. Flax to linen. The fibers of the flax plant were used to make linen, a lighter summer material. The seeds were removed and the plant was soaked and dried. The inner core of the plant was broken on a gadget called a brake, and the fibers were combed on a hackle. The combed flax, called line, was spun into thread and then woven into linen. When wool and line were woven together, a new material called linsey-woolsey was made. Clothing made of leather. Leather was often worn on the frontier because it was readily available. When animals such as deer or cows were killed for their meat, their skin or fur could be used to make clothing. Leather was made by tanning hides. To tan a hide, the skin was soaked in a chemical made from water and the bark of an oak or hemlock tree. It was then dried, greased, and softened by hand. So here's some of that, what we just talked about. The brake split the inner core of the flax plant. The fibers were combed on a hackle to get rid of the outer covering, leaving silky threads. I almost said strands. Buckskin, which was leather made from deer hide, was used on the frontier to make jackets, boots, and pants.